Hello. Now, if someone asked you the question, what do you ultimately want in your life? I mean, above everything else. What would you say? You had to choose one thing. Happiness. Yeah, most of us would choose that. 99.9% of people that I ask say that. I think the others are asleep. But for decades, psychological research didn't focus on that. It focused on the causes and cures of dysfunction, why things go wrong and how to stop that, how to correct that. It actually spent very little effort, research effort, into what actually makes us happy. But in the last 2 decades, there's been a massive revolution in psychological research that is now revealing some of the factors that actually make a difference for us personally, for our societies, and also for our workplaces. Because we now know that when people are happier, not only does that help prevent things like depression, but it actually makes people physically healthier. You are much more likely to be physically healthy if you are happy. You're less likely to catch a cold. You're less likely to suffer from cardiovascular disease. You're more likely to take care of yourself. At workplaces, you're more likely to be engaged. You're more likely to enjoy what you do. You're more likely to earn more. And in your community, you're more likely to contribute. You're more likely to volunteer. You're more likely to be financially responsible and act more safely. So there's a lot of reasons why we should care about happiness. And the good news is that psychology is showing there are lots of things that we can do that make a difference. Before we do that, what sorts of things make you guys happier? I mean, what sorts of things make you happy? In general, in life in general? Friends. Cats. What? Children. Lots about people, lots about cats, other things. Food, yes, I'm big on food. Other things, drinking, yeah? A few pleasures there, other things. Being outdoors, other things over here. What? Sex? Yeah, depends how good it is. Holidays, yeah. Lots and lots and lots of different things. Because actually there's no one thing that unpacking happiness, it's my side there. There's no one thing that makes us happy. It's a bundle of things. And lots of the things that contribute to our happiness are actually things that we can't control. It's hard to change your parents, and sometimes our genetic inheritance does influence how happy we feel. Our circumstances, where we live, our house, we can change, but sometimes those are harder. But the good news is it's also showing that there's a hell of a lot that is within our power to change, within our control to change. Lots about our daily actions, our behaviours, and how we approach and think about things. And what we've done at Action for Happiness is summarise those into our 10 keys to happier living. And I'm just going to give you a little taster of a couple of those. As you notice, some of these are things that are more internal, that affect how we are on the outside. And some of them are more things that we do on the outside that affect how we are on the inside. And it's a menu. What works for us is different at different times, and we're all different, so different things play a role, and we can get creative with some of these things. But one of the things I really love about this research, it's all research-based, is that it's all about small things that add up to a big difference over time. So tiny actions, the evidence is suggesting, really do add up and contribute. So, where we go? There we go. One of the keys is about trying out and doing new things, keeping learning. And this not only fuels our creativity, but it also keeps our brain active. It's like exercise for the mind. So I thought we'd try a couple of new experiences. Are we up for that? Okay. So, experiment. I'm going to ask you to experiment. The first one, very simple. I'm going to ask you on your own to just reflect back on the last 24 hours for you. And just think about 3 things that you enjoyed, were grateful for, were pleased about. And just bring those into your mind. Maybe a note or two on why they were good. Has everybody got a couple of things in mind? How did it feel thinking about those things? Weird? Why? We don't usually do that. Actually, in psychological terms, there's a phrase that bad is stronger than the good. We naturally focus on what's wrong rather than what's right. So, what other ways did it feel? How did people notice about how it felt?
Just that it was strange to think of something that happened 6 hours ago, and the importance of actually how important.
So it felt important, and did it feel good to feel like that?
Yeah,
it felt good. Yeah, a little bit. Well, mostly when we do that, it is quite strange because you're right. We often don't think back. And these kind of little events that feel good, if you're in a nice, soft, fluffy sort of way, actually just float by. They just float by. But what you just did there in a few seconds that I gave you to think about it, actually had, evidence suggests, had a physiological and a psychological impact on you. Because when we're in a pleasant emotional state, even though it feels diffuse, it literally broadens our perceptions. We see more. And we're more open to other people, we're more trusting of other people, we take in information better, we're better at solving problems, we see more options. And little by little those things add up to build our psychological resources. If we're more open and trusting of other people, we form better relationships. If we are more open to ideas and information, we learn more, we know more. If we're more open to options and better at problem solving, we're more creative and flexible and adapt to change. And that builds over time. And in fact, when people were asked to do that thing, just reflect on 3 things in the last 24 hours, they asked to do it each night for a week, write down those things before going to bed. So probably took about 2 minutes per night, maybe 15 minutes over a week. When they did that, that had a lasting impact on their psychological well-being, their happiness, that lasted for as long as 6 months. 6 months. Small things can make a big difference. And it's kind of a brain training exercise because we are more naturally, we're hardwired to focus on what's wrong. So this is helping us see what's right. So we've talked about that. So we're going to try part 2 of the experiment. Up for that?
Yeah.
Right. Now this I'm going to get you to pair up, ideally with someone just around you that you haven't spoken to yet this evening. And I'm going to ask you to share one of your good things that happened, but importantly, I'm going to ask you to listen in a really important way. It's going to ask you to listen as an active, curious listener. Now, what this means is when somebody says, oh yeah, my friend cooked me this fantastic meal last night, it doesn't mean saying, oh, that's great. Now let me tell you about my evening. Neither does it mean, oh wow, that was fantastic. It's really nice when friends cook you a meal, isn't it? My friend cooked me a meal last night. In fact, it was just so fantastic. I mean, they're a top chef actually, and it was just really brilliant. And it's not about, neither is it about, oh, your friend cooked you a nice meal last night. I thought you were on a diet. Aren't you trying to lose weight? So identifying all the worries and the risks. But as an active, curious listener, We simply ask, we put attention on the other person, we focus on them, and we simply ask a couple of questions like, oh, where was it? Or was it a special occasion? What did they cook? What was your favourite thing in the meal? Whatever the questions are. So it's just serious, focus on them, a couple of curious questions, and see what it feels. So share one of your good things, somebody practice active and curious questions, swap over. On your marks, get set, go. A couple of minutes.
We've got 5 minutes to go. You're getting your 15.
We're doing all right.
And we're enjoying it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. It's hard with the noise. It's hard with the noise.
Okay, let's come back. I love what that generates. Okay. How did it feel for those of you that were sharing your good thing, one of your good things? How did it feel to be listened to in an active and curious way? How did it feel? Somebody's there. What did you notice? What did you notice? Sorry? You lots of eye contact, so you felt like you were making good contact with person. What else? Smiled. What did you notice about, what was it like to experience that when somebody was giving you that sort of attention and contact? Was it? Rewarding. Yeah, rewarding. Well, it's interesting. When psychologists asked couples to try this out, to look at the way couples responded to each other, they found that couples who responded in that way, a few active and curious questions, pretty busy, had rated their relationships as much higher quality than couples who just respond in a more passive or even a kind of identifying all the downsides sort of way. So it's a simple way. And when we work with managers and teams in organisations, this simple exercise, there's loads more, but this simple exercise made a massive difference in terms of their team's engagement. And one manager came back and said, just by not multitasking when I'm talking to my teams, just by showing an interest, have more productivity, more out of some difficult team members than I've had in the last 6 months. So it just goes to show that these small things really can make a difference. And one thing, the first 2 keys in our 10 keys to happier living are actually about other people, because they are crucial to our happiness. We're social creatures. We design to live in social rooms. So whether we are introvert or extrovert, we all need other people. And one of the ways we can build those connections that we all need for our well-being is by doing something kind for another person. Because when we do something kind, not only is it nice for them, but it activates the reward centres in our brains, so it gives us a boost. And if we're happy, we're likely to help other people more, so it's kind of like a virtuous circle. And this simple exercise, we sometimes think of giving money, giving time, volunteering, which are all great. But actually just a few moments of attention is actually a way of giving to people. So we've got super short time, so I can't go through all of the other keys, but things like moving our bodies is great for our minds. In fact, some Harvard psychiatrist John Reiki calls it miracle brain for the brain, because it literally does create healthier brains, helps us think more clearly, make more decisions more effectively. Mindfulness actually can, as well as helping us manage stress and be more choiceful about our reactions, can actually give us a greater sense of time. Resilience, all the keys that we call the keys to happiness are also keys to resilience, but also some of our thinking patterns are important and contribute. Being comfortable with who we are, which is absolutely essential, is even in kind of, where, you've got a lot of high performers. This is essential, both in two ways, in how we treat ourselves when we mess up or we do things we don't think are up to standard, and also what we focus on about ourselves. I mean, every single one of you has strengths, and every single one of you has weaknesses. And as Henry mentioned, when we focus more on our strengths, we're happier, healthier, and do better at work. So there's lots that we could unpack here. And meaning. I'm just thinking about, this is about how we connect to something bigger than ourselves. What difference do we make around us? And that can be just literally the people immediately around us, or it can be something bigger. So I often ask people to think about, what footprint do you want to leave this week, this month, this year, at the end of your life, really. And that helps us give us clues about what meaning is. And if we know what is meaningful in our lives, that helps us make big choices, and it helps us prioritise our time, and it helps us focus on what really matters. So those are the 10 keys to happier living. There's a lot beneath them. They're all evidence-based. You've all got a card with them in your goodie bags, hopefully. And there's a ton of research on our website. And these are the acronym you might not have seen, but the acronym in the blue there is actually Great Dream. Because it's our dream that that the science shouldn't stay in the ivory towers and the academic papers, it gets out and put into practical use. And that it can make a difference to your lives, it can make a difference to the workplaces that you work in, and it can make a difference to your communities. So I'd like you to share in our great dream and take action for your own happiness and that of those around you.